content marketing consistently delivers better ROI for the following reasons. Cost efficiency. Unlike paid ads that disappear the moment you stop funding them, high quality content keeps working for you. A well-written blog or a valuable lead magnet can generate traffic, leads, and credibility for years after it's published without any additional spend, making content marketing one of the most cost-effective strategies for professionals who want long-term visibility and results. This is True Voice Unfiltered, the podcast where raw truth meets real transformation. I'm your host, Daria Anne, ghostwriter, content strategist, and holistic health warrior. No, I'm not a doctor, nurse, nutritionist, or any kind of medical professional, and this show does not dispense medical advice. I'm just an informed patient sharing what I've learned on my own healing journey. I also interview accomplished authors, speakers, entrepreneurs, and functional medicine practitioners who are transforming lives. If you're ready to break free from the sick care system, reclaim your health, and transform your life, you're in the right place. Let's get unfiltered. Hi, everyone, and welcome to True Voice Unfiltered, the podcast where raw truth meets real transformation. This is episode 16, and I'm your host, Daria Anne. Thank you for joining me today. Today, I want to talk about content that converts and why authority marketing is so important. Whether you are a functional medicine practitioner, an executive, a small business owner, when you're producing content, you want to make sure that that content expresses your authority and establishes you as sort of the guide that can help your intended audience, your ideal client, solve their problem. You always want to set yourself up as the authority in your field. And there are many ways to do that with content. And I want to share a blog that I recently wrote that explains this in more detail. It's called Content That Converts: Why Authority Marketing Beats Traditional Advertising. If you've ever wondered why some businesses attract a steady stream of loyal clients while others struggle to get noticed, the answer often comes down to how they market themselves. In a world saturated with paid ads and promotional noise, authority marketing versus traditional advertising has become a critical distinction for professionals seeking sustainable growth. Unlike one-off campaigns that disappear when the budget runs out, professional content strategy builds trust, credibility, and visibility over time. By consistently sharing valuable, relevant content, you position yourself as the go-to expert in your field and create an evergreen marketing asset that works for you long after the initial effort. When you consistently share valuable content, you attract prospects who already trust you. Instead of chasing cold leads, you attract people who want exactly what you offer. And I just want to interject here and say that I know this to be true from my 6.5 years as a content manager for an award-winning digital marketing agency, where our packages included monthly blogs and quarterly press releases. I dealt with a professional clientele. We had attorneys, plastic surgeons, an interventional radiologist. We had a lot of professionals that we provided content for, my department that is within this award-winning digital marketing agency. That was a full-service agency, but content was a critical component of what we offered to clients. And we followed specific formulas such as Google's EEAT formula, which stands for expertise, experience, authority, and trustworthiness. That was our goal every time we wrote a blog or any piece of content for a client, was to set them up as the authority, as the trustworthy guide that their ideal client should hire. And our blogs over time, because again, producing content regularly, in most cases, in my past experience, it was monthly. Some clients, depending on their service package and upgrades, got more than one blog a month. But at the very least, regular blogging monthly, and some cases bi-monthly, over an extended period of time, started to generate high-quality leads that often converted into clients. But authority marketing was at the core of everything we did, and it's certainly at the core of everything I do now as a ghostwriter. And I've been a ghostwriter of full-length books for professionals. Gosh, since 2010, I've ghostwritten over 12 full-length books. I actually completed 4 just within the last 6 months for a variety of professionals. And every one of them demonstrates the authority of my client in their voice. Authority marketing is the strategic practice of positioning yourself or your business as the trusted expert in your field by consistently sharing valuable educational content. Unlike traditional advertising, which interrupts people with sales messages, authority marketing earns attention by demonstrating credibility and helping your audience solve real problems. At its core, authority marketing is the process of building trust before you ever ask for a sale. It's a long-term strategy that generates qualified leads and creates loyalty and referrals. When executed well, authority marketing turns your expertise into your most effective marketing asset. So, as I said, in my past life, and even as a freelancer before I was a content manager, every blog, every web page, every piece of content I produced in the digital marketing field established the client as the authority in their particular practice area, in their business, whatever their area of expertise was. How does authority marketing derive its power? Well, there are several critical components. One, publishing a nonfiction book to establish thought leadership. A book is one of the most effective tools for reinforcing and expanding your reputation and showcasing your expertise. When you publish a professionally written nonfiction book, you create tangible proof of your authority that distinguishes you from your competitors. Books can open doors to speaking engagements, media coverage, and new client opportunities, all while giving your audience a deeper understanding of your story and your unique perspective. I've just done this myself. My most recent book, My Escape from the Sick Care System, A Guide to Overcoming PCOS, Hashimoto's, and Autoimmune Conditions with Functional Medicine, was part memoir, part guidebook. In this particular case, in terms of authority marketing, I was the authority in the sense that I was a patient who went through decades of searching for answers until I eventually found functional medicine, and I bumped into different messengers along the way who shared valuable information. For example, my coworker who shared the Dr. Atkins diet with me, right? That was what I needed at that time. My authority in writing the book was, hey, I've been there, done that. I have spent years going from conventional doctor to conventional doctor, getting nowhere. I understand your frustration. Here's what I did. Here's how I got there. I'm feeling great now, and you can too. So I established my authority because I am an informed patient. I'm always quick to say I am not any kind of medical professional. I am the daughter of a respected and wonderful general and vascular surgeon. Rest in peace, Dad. It's almost 3 years since he went to the other side, but he was renowned as a general and vascular surgeon in his field. I did not inherit his propensity for math and science. I was always much more of a humanities kind of girl, always gravitated toward English literature, history, languages. I am not any kind of medical professional. I'm not a nutritionist. I am an informed patient, however. And my book speaks to other patients out there, other people like me who were struggling. In my case, it was Hashimoto's, but my book speaks to anyone that has an autoimmune condition, whether it's Hashimoto's, lupus, or any other type of autoimmune condition. And I use my experience to share lessons with them. My book has CTAs at the end of every chapter. It has appendices with a guide to labs. I even have a free guide that they can download. I encourage them to download, called How to Find the Right Functional Medicine Practitioner for You. In this case, my authority stems from having that experience, finding the right practitioners, getting optimized, feeling great, and now I want to share that message with the world. So in that particular case, that's where my authority comes from. If you're an estate planning attorney, I've mentioned Melissa Yost before. She became a best-selling author of a book that explains why a will isn't enough and why you may need a trust. And in her particular field, estate planning, and in her book, she explains that her real life experience was the catalyst for her becoming an estate planning attorney. And she gives 3 specific examples of 3 different family members who passed away and how it affected her. And I don't want to give away the whole book because I highly recommend that you read it. I'm going to use her. She took that experience that she had as a child and then as a teenager with these three deaths in her family and decided to become an estate planning attorney to help other people avoid the same mistakes. And in an effort to expand her business and set herself up as the authority in her particular legal practice, estate planning, she decided to write a book, and she hired Michelle Culp. And I'm going to talk about Michelle here in a bit. But Michelle is an excellent book publicist, helps people get to bestseller on Amazon in several different categories related to their particular genre, and leverage their books to expand, in this case, her practice, because books give you instant credibility in the mind of others. Now, yes, Melissa, I'm sure, is a very excellent attorney with or without a book. The point is perception. When people see that you've taken the time to write a book, even if you hire a ghostwriter, no one has to know. That's the beauty of ghostwriting. And I should know, I'm a ghost. I've been a ghostwriter for years now. And I know and I love writing in other people's voices. I love getting to know another person through a series of interviews and then writing their book for them in their voice. When you produce a book, no one has to know. That's part of the deal of being a ghostwriter. But when your name is on the book as an author, it immediately sets you above all of your competitors in the minds of your ideal clients. So it's tangible proof. And unlike a viral social media post or a reaction to something happening in the news, a book is forever. A book is an evergreen brand asset. And I talked about evergreen content in episode 15. And this is really an extension of that episode, because here I want to delve more into authority marketing. But a book is the ultimate example of authority marketing. Now, in Melissa's case, she could also write a series of books. If she also does Medicaid planning, for example, she could write an entire book about that. If she does probate administration or trust administration, they could each have their own book. Whatever other practice areas she focuses on, she could write a book specifically about that practice area. Now, I also recommend blogging. That's item number 2. A book is the ultimate authority marketing piece, the ultimate authority marketing evergreen brand asset that, depending on your business, could just be one of many books you write. Number 2, creating SEO optimized blogs to rank in search results. Very, very important to be on page 1 of Google. Even better, to show up in search engine results page features, such as people also ask, AI overview, image carousel. There are several of them. I just wanted to name a few. But regular blogging with a clear keyword-focused strategy helps you stay visible to people actively searching for your services. SEO-optimized blog content drives organic traffic to your website and demonstrates your knowledge and commitment to educating your audience. Over time, these articles become a valuable library of resources that attracts prospects and keeps your brand top of mind. As a content manager, we produced SEO-optimized, high-quality blogs. We had an SEO tool, Surfer SEO, which I do highly recommend. It's one of the best tools out there to do keyword research and incorporate those keywords into your blog. Now, it really takes talent, skill, and effort to incorporate keywords, the focus keyword, which is the main subject of your blog, and then what we call cluster keywords, which are secondary keywords, secondary search terms that people are also using for that particular topic. So let's say it's wills. Maybe the focus keyword is how to write a will. I'm just kind of making this up here as I go. But there have been similar keywords to that. Making a will in Virginia, making a will in Florida. That could be, it's actually a phrase. I know we should really call them keyword phrases because it's more than just a word. That could be, depending on the area that the law firm is located in, and it's different. You know, every state, every city, the keywords could be different, and that's why you need a search tool. But each blog contained a focused keyword and then cluster keywords based on keyword research, based on whatever topic we were writing about for that client. We followed Google's EEAT formula: expertise, experience, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness in every blog. We had protocols that we would follow that I have taken into, now that I'm back to working on my own. I'm still writing blogs. I'm writing my own blogs. I'm actually applying these principles to my own blogs. I write on my website, truevoicewritingservices.com. And certainly with books, although keywords for books on Amazon are a little bit different, I recommend Publisher Rocket to research keywords and incorporate those into your main title and the subtitle of your book. That's a little bit beyond the scope of this episode, but that is something Michelle Culp can help you with on the book publicity side. And I'm going to talk about how she and I work together. All right, item 3, offering lead magnets that build your email list. A lead magnet, such as a free guide, checklist, or ebook, is a foundational element of authority marketing. When you provide something genuinely useful in exchange for an email address, you create an opportunity to remain connected to your audience long after they've clicked away from your website. Effective lead magnets align with your audience's needs and demonstrate the kind of value clients can expect from working with you. For example, I have a lead magnet on my website called Authority on Autopilot that explains why hiring a ghostwriter is a wise decision for busy professionals who don't have time to write a book and what qualities they should look for in a ghostwriter. I have a free guide for readers of my book on how to find the right functional medicine practitioner. You want to give your ideal client, your ideal audience, your target audience, the people you are trying to reach through your content, something of value in exchange for their email, which is something of value to you because that helps you build your list. And then you can add them to that list, send out monthly newsletters to keep you top of mind. Now, a lot of this is a long-term strategy. Actually, I would say that content is a long-term strategy. Unlike PPC, paid ads, where people that click on those ads and they schedule an appointment, they're ready to buy, right? They're ready to go. Organic content's a little bit different, but when you optimize it correctly for SEO and start ranking high on search engine results pages, over time, it will lead to more clients for your law firm, your practice, whatever you're doing. And I can say that from experience, that our blogs in the content department, very proud of my team. They were wonderful, and I'm sure they're still producing excellent content. But most of our clients, even the clients that were getting bi-monthly blogs, were getting leads from their blogs. Now, in most cases, probably took 3 to 6 months before things really started clicking. And certainly those clients that got more than one blog a month saw results faster. But generally, it does take a little bit of time, a couple of months, regularly posting content, high quality content that speaks to your audience's needs, that's relevant, that answers their questions, that sets you up as the guide they are looking for. You're not the hero of their story. They're the hero. You're the guide. Highly recommend reading Story Brand by Donald Miller for more on that. But you want to make sure you're setting yourself up as the guide who has the experience, the knowledge that they need to solve whatever problem they are trying to solve. And you can do that through your lead magnets as well. Just as an example of a lead magnet for an attorney, one that I have written often, 5 things to do after a car accident, for a personal injury attorney. I've written lead magnets about probate administration and what to expect from the whole process, especially if you're a personal representative or an executor. Different states, some states call executors personal representatives, some states call them both. But basically, we've written guides about what to expect if you are that person that's responsible for the will after the person passes away and the entire process. And believe me, I had no idea there was so much involved in that process, just as a side note, until I worked for this agency. And man, I learned a lot about the law, about estate planning, personal injury, and family law. I learned a lot from our clients. And after 6.5 years of writing blogs, I certainly learned a lot about the subject matter. So you want to offer, as we did for the clients that we served at the agency, as I do now for clients for whom I write books and blogs, you want to make sure that you're giving that client or that potential new client, that prospect, value in exchange for that email. So offer lead magnets that have something of value for the reader. Don't be afraid to share information. That's something I often came across too in my past life as a content manager. Occasionally, I'd get a client that would reach out to me and say, I think this blog gives away too much information. And then I would have to show them that their competitors were writing blogs with that exact same information So that information is already out there, and why not set yourself up as the person who knows what they're doing? Because by sharing that information, it does two things. It sets you up as the authority, and it also signals to your reader, to your potential new client, that, man, this is overwhelming. I can't handle this myself. I need to make an appointment. I need to have a consultation with this attorney or with this doctor because they can solve my problem. So it's twofold. You want to give them enough information to establish yourself as an authority, and also for them to realize, I need this person's help. I can't do this on my own. Like, let's just say with a will. I don't think anybody would try to operate on themselves alone, but let's just use the example again of an estate planning attorney. I've often done blogs about why you really don't want to do a DIY will, why it's always better to hire an attorney in your state to create a will that abides by your state's laws and will stand up in court. It's twofold. You set yourself up as the authority, and you also give them enough information to realize, I can't do this on my own. I'm going to call and schedule a consultation. Okay, number 4, sending nurture emails to build relationships over time. So, email marketing remains one of the most personal and effective ways to build relationships with your audience. Nurture emails deliver helpful insights, share your latest content, and keep your brand front and center without being intrusive. Over time, this consistent communication builds trust and primes potential clients to engage your services when they're ready. Remember, content is a long term strategy. By creating that lead magnet of value to gain something of value, their email, and adding them to your email list, now you can stay in touch with them. I recommend on a monthly basis. That's just enough where you're not bothering people, but you're remaining top of mind. However, those newsletters should also share valuable information. Let's just use the attorney example again. If a statute changes in your state, whether it's pertaining to divorce or child custody or wills, whatever your practice area is, if there's a change in a statute that could affect your potential new clients, make sure you include that in your newsletter. Just like the lead magnet, your newsletter has to offer valuable information. And I would also add, you want to personalize it. Give people a glimpse of who you are. Share real pictures. People want to do business with people they know, like, and trust. Don't be afraid to share pictures of your staff, the people that work there, pictures of yourself. We had a client at the agency who always shared the latest updates for people in his office. And it's amazing. His practice expanded by at least 4 times from the time I started. This is, again, I was there 6.5 years. I believe it was over, trying to remember when this client started with us, but it was at least 4 or 5 years. And I watched him basically quadruple his staff because of our, not just because of content, because of our overall marketing efforts. But as the content manager, I would see his newsletters because I would review them. And our blogs were always the focal point of each month's newsletter. And then they would send our social media team pictures of employees, and they would always have features like whether it was somebody's anniversary, somebody's birthday, some type of milestone, if somebody ran in a marathon. They always personalized their newsletters to give their potential new clients a glimpse of the kind of people they would be working for, and also kind of what their work environment was like, and kind of made them very approachable. And I think that's especially important in a profession like law, where a lot of people are intimidated by lawyers. And so this particular client, and many of our clients, I'm just thinking of this one as an example, would personalize their newsletters, and we would advise them to use real pictures on their website also to make them more accessible to people, to sort of take away that intimidation factor. Like, hey, these are real people. They're celebrating real milestones, birthdays, anniversaries, birth of a child, whatever it was in these newsletters. Remain top of mind with your potential new clients by sending out monthly newsletters that share valuable information, and also share your staff, employees, team members, however you refer to them, so that they can kind of get to know you better and know who they might be working with when they need your services. Why does content outperform traditional advertising? Content marketing is a smarter, more sustainable way to attract and convert clients, while traditional advertising often relies on interrupting your audience with paid promotions. Ever like watch a YouTube video or and have that happen, or scrolling through Facebook? That's a paid promotion. Authority building content positions you as the expert people actively seek. Content marketing consistently delivers better ROI for the following reasons. Cost efficiency. Unlike paid ads that disappear the moment you stop funding them, high quality content keeps working for you around the clock. A well written blog or a valuable lead magnet can generate traffic, leads, and credibility for years after it's published without any additional spend, making content marketing one of the most cost effective strategies for professionals who want long term visibility and results. Content is a long term game for sure. And the beauty of it is just like this is saying here, the cost efficiency, because we would have blogs performing from like 4 years ago, right? We would always do blog performance reports for our clients because we wanted to show them the efficacy of blogs. There is definitely cost efficiency with content. It is a long-term game, so you have to be patient, you have to be consistent, but the payout is also there. Because unlike paid ads that are going to dry up, if your budget is done, if you have no more money to spend on paid ads, those ads are going to go away. Unlike blogs that are going to stay there. Now, if they're SEO optimized, they've incorporated focus keyword and cluster keywords, they've followed Google's formula, EEAT, they're going to keep engaging your reader for many years to come. And I can say this from personal experience. We had clients whose blogs were still performing 3, 4, and 5 years later after they were published. Content is a long-term game. You have to be patient. It doesn't yield leads right away. Same is true with a lead magnet, but it will be generating leads and credibility and traffic to your website for years after it's published. Trust and connection. People buy from brands they trust. Again, people want to do business with people they know, like, and trust. Educational, helpful content naturally builds that trust by demonstrating your expertise and showing you genuinely care about your audience's challenges. Trust and connection. People buy from brands they trust. Educational, helpful content naturally builds that trust by demonstrating your expertise and showing you genuinely care about your audience's challenges. Instead of feeling sold to, prospects experience your insights and value firsthand, creating a sense of connection and credibility before you ever have a sales conversation. I also talked about this in the last episode, and I mentioned it a little while ago, but people want to do business with people they know, like, and trust, and nobody wants to feel like they've been sold. You create trust and connection by taking the time to share your knowledge and expertise, whether it's in a book or regular monthly blogs. People connect with educational, helpful content. EEAT, again, experience, expertise, authoritativeness, trustworthiness. All of that must come through in your blogs, in your book. If you have a ghostwriter writing your book, they should abide by those principles too. Nobody wants to feel like they've been sold to, but they do want to feel like, wow, this person took the time to share their knowledge and expertise with me. I could give you an example from my own life. I cite this a lot, but it's a perfect example of authority marketing. Dr. Amy Horniman. I woke up one morning with the thought, look up thyroid specialist. This was in 2021, right before I got optimized with the help of Dr. Amy. I was a little bit frustrated. I loved my previous practitioner, but we only got so far, and I felt like I needed someone else to kind of help me reach optimization with my thyroid. I was feeling better, but I wasn't there yet. And I knew that the right person could get me there. So I woke up with that thought. Look up thyroid specialist, search for thyroid specialist online. I did that. It led me to Dr. Weston Childs. Now, he does not take patients, but he has an excellent podcast. I started listening to his podcast. One day he interviewed Dr. Amy, who blew me away just with her knowledge, her bubbly personality, her pain to purpose story, actually, because I related to it because I'd been through something similar myself. I started following her podcast, started listening to her podcast. I believe it was probably about 3 or 4 months of listening to her and incorporating the information she shared for free on her podcast into my own life and getting results that finally led me to think, you know what, I really need to work with Dr. Amy. That's an example of authority marketing. Now, in this case, it was podcasts, but you can do that through books. You can do that through blogs. And I do recommend podcasts also. But it's just a perfect example of authority marketing. She didn't sell anything. She was herself. She shared her knowledge. And continues to do this, by the way. She interviews excellent guests who share their knowledge. Every time I watch an episode of her podcast, I come away with new information. And I appreciated that she shared this so freely and that a lot of it was helping me in my own life before I even became a patient. Perfect example of authority marketing. Okay, let's talk about SEO benefits. Search engines reward websites that regularly publish relevant, high quality content. Every new blog or page you create is an opportunity to rank for keywords your potential clients are searching for. Over time, this steady investment in SEO optimized content can generate a consistent stream of organic traffic, bringing you qualified leads without the high cost of paid advertising. And yes, it has to be done correctly. First of all, keyword research and then incorporating the focus keyword and the cluster keywords is really an art because you don't want your content to sound like it's keyword stuffed because that could work against you. So you really need to work with someone, or if you're going to write your own blogs, be able to write them in a way where the keywords are subtle. They're there, but they're subtle. And somebody reading it would never even guess that it's a keyword. They just land on your blog because the keywords are in there. Over time, if you make this steady investment in SEO optimized content, whether you hire someone or whether you invest in a service like Surfer SEO and produce content regularly, at least monthly in the form of blogs or write a book, it's going to generate a consistent stream of organic traffic, bringing you qualified leads without the high cost of paid advertising. Once again, though, it's a long-term strategy. Paid ads are more of a short-term strategy because you get an immediate return. And I'm not telling anyone not to do paid ads. I am far from an expert in that category. I'm not qualified to talk about it. I'm just here to talk about content. That's what I know and that's what I do. I will say if you're looking to save money and you are willing to engage in this long-term strategy, SEO optimized content is the way to go. Obviously, I recommend writing books. I recommend regular blogs. And the reason I do is because I've seen the results for myself and for my clients. Okay, let's talk about repurposing power. I did mention this on the previous episode as well. One of the greatest advantages of content marketing is its versatility. A single piece of content, a book, a blog article, or an in-depth guide can be repurposed into social media posts, podcast episodes, just like I'm doing now, videos, email campaigns, and much more. This flexibility multiplies your reach and reinforces your authority across every platform your audience uses, maximizing the impact of your time and investment. So, wherever your audience is, when you repurpose content, you will reach them wherever they are. If they only watch podcasts and you convert your blog into a podcast, you'll find your audience there. If you're creating reels and social media posts and you have clients that are on Facebook or whatever social media platform, there are many of them, you will find them there. Repurposing content is the best return on your content investment. I just repurposed myself. I have a tiny book coming out. I took Michelle Culp's Tiny Book Challenge for the month of October, and I wrote a book about why authenticity still rules in the age of AI and why books mean business, but writing and publishing books with authenticity means business. And I pulled that content from several blogs that I had written. Now, of course, I had to adapt it a little bit for a book. A tiny book, by definition, is between 25 and 75 pages. And honestly, until I took Michelle's 30-day tiny book challenge, I had no idea tiny books were a thing on Amazon, but they are. And what a timely topic, AI. But my real point here is that I repurposed those blogs that I had written that were based on my own experience with AI and the digital marketing agency, and I created a tiny book. I'm not exactly sure what the page count is yet. It's in formatting, but it will be somewhere between 25 and 75 pages. So there is repurposing power in content when you do it correctly. When you do the keyword research, you write it optimized for SEO, abide by Google's EEAT formula as you're writing it, and you're putting it out there consistently. You are going to build authority. You are going to generate leads, higher rankings in search engine results page features, such as people also ask. Can you see the different questions? And when you click on it, there will be an excerpt from somebody's blog or somebody's website. That's a great feature. Other features include image carousel, where maybe they'll take an image from your blog or your website. There's also the AI overview, which is an excellent feature to show up in. So many, many benefits of producing high quality, SEO optimized, consistent content. But if you don't have the time or the inclination to get the SEO tools you need and write blogs or books, then hey, contact True Voice Writing Services. I will help you build authority and create content that converts. So these are, and just an example here, clever way of maybe incorporating keywords, maybe not so clever, but you'll see that this ends with, have you been typing benefits of content marketing, professional content strategy, or content that converts clients into your search bar? As I say here, with more than 6 years of experience as a content manager for an award-winning digital marketing agency and nearly 3 decades of experience creating high-quality content, I can help you experience the benefits of content marketing by highlighting your expertise and positioning you as the authority in your field. I offer a free 30-minute, no obligation discovery call so I can learn a little bit more about you. You can tell me what your goals are. We can decide if it makes sense for us to move forward. There's no obligation. I'm happy to meet for 30 minutes. We could talk about how you can leverage books. If you want to write a book, we can talk about blogs. And you can also download, here's my free guide, Authority on Autopilot, How Busy Professionals Can Publish a Book Without Writing a Single Word. So reach out to me today at truevoicewritingservices.com. You can click on the contact link here, and it's going to ask you to fill out this form. Pretty basic information. Tell me a little bit about your business. If it's a book, I just kind of want to know if you've started on anything, what subject matter you want to write about, things like that. If you're available for scheduled weekly calls, you submit that form. And when we get on that call, we can delve more deeply into your goals and how we can make content work for you, whether it's blogs, books, maybe it's both. Maybe you start out with blogs. I can certainly do that. Go to truevoicewritingservices.com/contact and reach out to me today and tell me your story over a virtual cup of coffee. Also, if you are interested in being a guest on True Voice Unfiltered, you can use this form to reach out to me and we'll schedule a call and I'll get to know a little bit more about you. Happy to do that. Really excited to do that. This episode of True Voice Unfiltered is sponsored by the Best-Selling Author Program. Your path to becoming a #1 best-selling author begins here. The Best-Selling Author Program was established by Michelle Culp. She's a fabulous book publicist. She's been doing this for more than a decade. She and I have been working together for probably the same amount of time. Back in the day when I was freelancing and ghostwriting books, as I said, I've been doing this a long time. I would refer clients to Michelle for the book publicity and to do the book launch on Amazon. Now we are actually much more aligned in that when you reach out to Michelle to talk about some of her programs, we have a done for you program that includes ghostwriting. So I would be your ghostwriter, but it also includes formatting, cover design, keyword research for your title and subtitle, setting up your page on KDP, helping you set up on Bowker, which is where you have to go to order your ISBN number. Everything you need, basically, to take that book and get it out there is included in Michelle's package. And I happen to be the ghostwriter or the editor. Sometimes maybe you don't need a ghostwriter. Maybe you have a book and it just needs editing. So we offer both of, we offer those services. And when you sign up for one of her programs, everything is included. So it's very much a done for you program. And if you're a busy professional, it might be the way to go. Might be the most cost-effective way to do it. And by the way, Michelle uses real graphic designers, not AI. We may use AI to just get a concept going and to share that with the designer as, hey, this is the concept we have in mind. I just did that recently for one of our clients. But she uses an actual designer that's been working with her for several years. And she's designed a couple of book covers for me, actually. Wonderful. We also have excellent formatters. We have a formatter who can make your book look pretty on the inside, make it visually appealing. That is not my area of expertise, but I appreciate good formatting. My tiny book is in the process of being formatted right now, and I'm so grateful for people who know how to format because for some reason it just doesn't work with my brain. I have tried, believe me. When you work with Michelle and me, you get everything you need. And I'm just going to share again some of her clients. Now, we work with mostly nonfiction authors, and here I am at the top. As you can see, My Escape from the Sick Care System, A Guide to Overcoming PCOS, Hashimoto's, and Autoimmune Conditions with Functional Medicine. It went to bestseller in 4 different categories. We had a wonderful launch. It really helped me get the message out there. As of this recording, I have 15 5-star reviews, but I know there are more coming because I've spoken to people in real life who have read my book who gave me wonderful feedback. So, and you'll see the little bestseller seal here. So that's me. We have Melissa Fike, Quantum Akashic Records Manifesting, and also another book, A Radical Approach to the Akashic Records, Master Your Life and Raise Your Vibration. We have Mark Sloan, author of The Cancer Industry, Crimes, Conspiracy, and the Death of My Mother. Here is Melissa Yost, our estate planning attorney that I talked about earlier. Why a will isn't enough, how a trust can help your loved ones avoid probate, minimize family conflict, and bypass the legal mess most wills leave behind. Amazon bestseller, and we also have Dr. Chris Cormier, DC, Feel Better Fast, How to Maximize Self-Healing Without Drugs, Injections, and Surgery Using the OWL Method of Oxygen, Water, and Light. Love that one. I've got to read this book. Also among Amazon bestsellers. I happen to know Michael personally and his practice. Wonderful. His book, Neurofeedback 101, Rewiring the Brain for ADHD, Anxiety, Depression, and Beyond Without Medication. This one was an international bestseller. So Michelle and I work with a professional clientele. There's a link here called Let's Talk. Here she is. Write, publish, monetize, scale. Are you ready to expand your influence, impact, and income with a best-selling book? You can read more about it here. The 12 benefits you can achieve by writing a best-selling book. Impact others with your message. Grow your email list. We talked about that. Build a community. Michelle has a community on Facebook for the Tiny Book Challenge. It was an online course, but we also had a Facebook group we could all interact in, which was very helpful. Build a business around a best-selling book. Turn readers into aligned clients. We've talked a lot about that. Use your book to get media attention for your business. Excellent. Podcast host. I can speak for myself, and I know I'm very small and I'm just starting out, but I'll tell you, they always need guests. And when you have a book, it's instant credibility. The perception among your potential new clients and podcast hosts is that if you've written a book, you are somebody worth talking to, you are somebody worth listening to, and for your clients, you are definitely somebody worth having a consultation with when they need your product or service. Become the go-to expert in your field. I believe the statistic is still true. Out of all the people who say they're going to write a book or they want to, only 5% actually do it. Think about that. I mean, that gives you such a competitive advantage in your field because your competitors are not writing books. So you become the go-to expert in your field. Elevate your name and brand. Absolutely. 10 times your credibility. I just talked about that. People perceive authors as credible people. An attorney who has written a book is going to have more prestige in the eyes of a potential new client than an attorney who hasn't. I could say the same about a functional medicine practitioner, about a chiropractor, whatever profession you are in, you can 10 times your credibility with a book. Certainly, you'll showcase your value and expertise. I do recommend doing that with regular monthly blogs in addition to books. Certainly true of books, the best evergreen asset there is. Help the readers think differently about the problem. You want to make sure you're sharing and teaching generously and share your personal story. There is nothing like a pain to purpose story. That is why I ended up hiring Dr. Amy. That is why so many people in her field, actually, in the functional medicine, integrative medicine field, go into it because they've had their own experiences, like me, with conventional medicine, found a better way. In their case, though, they had the math and science capabilities to pursue it as a career. I wrote about it, though, for other patients. But yeah, you want to share your personal story. You want to be relatable. Many people want to write a book, but under 5% actually get it done. Why? Why is it hard to write a book? Because you need 3 things: mentorship from someone who has done what you want to do, a plan and strategy so you can achieve your goals with your book or books, accountability to get it done. You get all 3 of those things with Michelle and I. We help clients get their book done in 90 days and become best-selling authors. So if you're interested, you can fill out this form on bestsellingauthorprogram.com/coaching. If you scroll down, you can apply now for your complimentary discovery session with Michelle Culp, and let's talk about how I can help you. Michelle can help you become a best-selling author. So highly recommend that. Let's talk about the 30-day Tiny Book Challenge. I'll share the link in the show description, but this is the Tiny Book Challenge. This was wonderful. We have participants in this group who are getting ready to publish their tiny book. Mine is coming out soon. It's in formatting as we speak. It's a great way to really get started. If you want to write your own book yourself and you want some accountability and the support of a group, join the Tiny Book Challenge. Get on Michelle's wait list. And you can get that through going to bestsellingauthorprogram.com and just click on the Tiny Book Challenge and this screen will pop up. Again, bestsellingauthorprogram.com, where your path to becoming a #1 best-selling author begins. And then you can just click up here for Tiny Book Challenge. Thank you, Best-Selling Author Program, for sponsoring this episode of True Voice Unfiltered. So I want to thank all of you for listening today. I hope this was helpful. I hope you learned something about content. Please visit my website, truevoicewritingservices.com. I have a huge blog library there. I blog regularly, usually monthly. Every podcast I do, I blog about, but I have lots of articles there about content marketing, authority marketing, evergreen assets, why content is an evergreen asset, especially content in the form of a book, but also how blogs can help you. Why not do both? If you're stuck, have any questions, need more information, reach out to me, schedule a free 30-minute discovery call. I would love to talk to you, learn more about your business and your goals, see how we can work together, whether you want regular blogs or a book, even lead magnets, press releases. I've done them all. I've also done web pages, SEO optimized web pages. Reach out to me at truevoicewritingservices.com. I look forward to speaking with you. All right, everybody, until the next time, keep sharing your true voice. Thank you all for listening and watching. Take care.